so that just helps people when they're working it. Same features though as far as multi-directional, automatic.
Periscope.
Mario's first. So here on Dapper, what's great about this particular die design is that it is designed for multi-feature. I designed it really as a negative space die because I love the effect that it gives when all of these pieces come out. I think it creates something very unique, especially if you do a lot of cards or a lot of journals. So I'm all about negative space when it comes to dies. But that being said, I'm also very conscious of, okay, if I have this die, what if I really want to use those pieces? Are they going to be easy to assemble? And you'll see some of the cards that you can reassemble this. And what I suggest, if you're going to put this on a card and you have all of these random pieces, the mustache and half of the bow tie and all that, use the piece that you used to just cut out, lay it down on your card, glue your pieces as a template, and lift this off, right? So you can go ahead and reassemble this. But I think that this guy, as much as I love steampunk, he's going to be great for invitations, wedding announcements, that sort of thing, any engagement that you have as well. So I think that's a cool die. We've introduced a significant amount of very detailed dies this show, especially in the thinlit line, including the layered butterfly, the wildflower, and you were talking about the doilies. So the doilies are really cool. We were showing how you can create these really light paper doilies using my new tissue wrap. So let me grab that. So the doilies, there are different styles of doilies, and what's great about this is that they're paper doilies. And the idea behind this was not to create something symmetrical. Most of the paper doilies you find at party shops are all symmetrical, right? It's the same design. This, we actually took a crochet doily and created the art based on that. So that's why you can see that the scale, the perspective, it's very wonky. It's very natural, very organic look. And I think it really looks great on a lot of different cards. You can cut it out of so many different mediums, whether it's metallic cardstock or something thin, and you just kind of get that natural look to it. Now, because this is a thin die and it's very detailed, you are going to need your precision base plate for that. You really need that. Now, Sizzix tells you not to use it on the magnetic platform. Sorry. It's just what I do. It's what I've always done, so when they say you can't do it anymore, I'm like, okay, and I keep doing it. So pay no attention to that other than what I'm doing. Yeah, you say, but you're Tim, then it doesn't really matter.
Quick question.
That's what I'm doing. Yes?
Do you use that dye on the sticky fabric?
You can use it on the fabric, absolutely.
Give it an authentic grain.
Yeah, but I would probably, if I was going to do that onto fabric, I would probably take the fabric, and if you would just only wanted to use it on the fabric, peel it off and maybe put some powder or something on the back.
Okay.
So it could just be a piece of fabric.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
Because you saw how flexible this was.
Yeah.
So if you cut the fabric and tried to peel off the backing, you would never get it placed on your surface
Gotcha.
looking like that.
All
Well,
right.
you might, but it wouldn't
No.
be easy. Yeah. So you want to do something that's definitely thin. So for cardstock related, have any simple craft. So I'm just going to flip one of these around. Because I don't necessarily want an orange doily, I'm just going to use a craft one. I'm just going to place this down. So again, on that precision base plate, really need that because there's a lot of detail cutting. We're going to go face down into that. Now this one has a piece of tissue wrap in it. You can use wax paper or you can use a new tissue wrap. What that's going to do is that's going to help this come out of the die. Just makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to take a cutting pad. That's going to just be my top cutting pad, and I'm going to run that through the machine. All right. So this guy, when it comes out and you clean it all up and you use your brush and you do all of that, you have all of your detail pieces from your doily cut. So the easiest way to go with something like this is you can take that cleaner, you take the little brush, go, 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 which Mario knows all so well because he prepped all the kits for the Sizzix class.
It works really good.
It works really great, but that is the way that you can clean your dies just using the brush. So not only would you clean the pieces out of your die, it's a great way to clean the paper pieces out of what you've cut, okay? Yeah, makes it really easy, and it doesn't damage it at all. What's nice about the doily as well, when you're using it, if you use it on like an overlay on a card or something like that, you can use the all over piece, but this is really good at any perspective. So if I'm going to use just a corner accent of it, I can. If I'm going to use a side accent, I can. Or just use it in a lot of different types of projects. So that's really fun. Let me grab the butterflies, show you that one. So I like this one too. Let's go through, let's do some gear heads in a minute. Oh, I probably don't have the butterflies, the one that I want to use. No, I don't. But I'll show you this. So, a lot of people asked about this when I did the preview on the blog, and that is the stitch rectangles and ovals. So, the stitching, what's nice about these frame dies, they have a cutting blade on the outside, as well as this cutting stitch. And this cuts into the surface, and this is designed to create kind of that stitched effect when I'm layering paper. So, let me just take these out. I'm gonna clean this little spot so you guys can see. Oh, look at that. I didn't see that one first time. That's cool. That's the chambray. That's in there. So yeah, that's in the textile pack. It looks like denim, but it's really a soft fabric. Yeah. So this one is going to cut 2 different borders. I'll show you that, and you'll see that on the stitch frame. These are somewhat nested sizes. I wouldn't say that they're a regular scale concentric size, only because when we started getting smaller, that really made it kind of wonky, out of proportion.
Your turn.
So I wanted something, instead of having a really long rectangle, I wanted to go in and kind of keep everything proportionate. So that's why when I don't really refer to them as nested, because I don't think they do that. I just say that they are scaled in size when you're working with it. So when I go and cut these out, I don't necessarily need this. This is only for super detailed, right? You don't want to ever use your precision base plate on something that doesn't have a connector. Meaning, if there's not a part that's going to go across your die, don't use this or your die will become potato chip. You'll know it when you do it. You'll see it come out and you're like, whoa, yeah. You don't need it. Yeah, this is for precision. This is when you have a die that's got so many crossroads going that you really need that precision. That's when you do it. And it'll happen. It still happened to me, you know, once, and you're like, note to self, don't. So let's talk about that, because work with Linda on this too. She had a lot of patience. So when it came to the Vagabond 2, one of the big differences when we launched the Vagabond, I did not have thin dies in my line. I wasn't a fan of thin dies. I really didn't understand all you can do with them. I was all about steel dies. So the first Vagabond, it really wasn't about cutting thin dies, and if you bought it, you had nothing in it that you could cut a thin die with. So if you bought that machine, you're like, I got these thin dies, there wasn't anything you needed. You needed a thin die adapter to make up that sandwich. So obviously when we brought out the Vagabond 2 and I had thin dies, we've now included that thin die adapter with the machine. So now when you buy the new machine, you can use it with regular dies, you can use it with embossing folders, or you have the thin die adapter to use it with thin dies. Also, I wanted to tell my own story. Now my platform, and it's totally different. See, they're all laughing. You guys watching on Periscope, do you have them all laughing? All the people from Scissors are like, oh gosh, this idiot. But I'm not a reader. I'm not. As a crafter, when I'm in it, I'm like, I can read, okay? But when I'm crafting, I'm just kind of going. And so if I look at instructions, I just kind of glance and off I go. So when something tells me at the very bottom, don't do something, I didn't really get that far, right? So when we're working with this, especially for those that have the Vagabond and have used the thin die adapter, it looks so similar to this that sometimes you forget to take this off when you're embossing, because this is only for thin dies. So we rewrote the story to show you, if you're embossing, that's how you do the sandwich. If you're going to do cutting, that's how you do the sandwich. If you're doing thin dies, these are the kinds that you use, which means they're all just regular metal thin dies, not your sizzlets, not any of the decorative strips, just thin dies. It all goes through the sandwich, kind of shows you how easy to stack. And something super important, if you see something in yellow and black, you're gonna read it, because you're curious. You're gonna be like, that means business. So they said, well, that seems a bit shocking to them. Like, you need to shock them, because if you try to use this with an embossing folder, it's not gonna end well. This one will be fine, this will at least stop, but the regular Vagabond will just take it right through and not be good. So this is not for embossing. This is only for thin dies, all right? So, I got my point across. Here we go. I'm gonna take this, just going with one of those frames now. I need my 2 cutting pads, so I'm gonna place that down, cut into that, put my top one. So there's my sandwich, and all I did was really follow the picture. See, boom, 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 boom. I can do that. Put that in, and off you go. And I just like this. I want to show you this one. It's pretty cool. So what I like about this particular one is that when I cut this out, it's going to cut, but it's going to give me a really cool stitched edge. And again, not symmetrical. I know there's other stitch dies out there. I didn't create this idea, but everything again was very symmetrical. So I did kind of a wonky zigzag that wasn't connected. a weird little straight stitch that's not even, and I think it gives a really cool kind of organic look. Now, this one I did because I would use it, say, as a card mat. I would use it to put a photo on or another die cut, but if I knew that I wanted to create a frame, I could place both dies in at the same time and run it through, as long as these do not touch, right? If you're gonna get close, like one to the next, I probably wouldn't run this at the same time. You know, I would run this one with this one because I have a lot of clearance, but me personally, I would not risk that when this goes in my machine, these overlap, because if it does, it will damage your die. So, because I want to use this one, I'll just do another pass. I mean, people that ask about that, they must be like really in a hurry to craft, going, well, can I just do it all at once? Sure, if you're in a hurry. But this one's good because if I didn't want to use this as a photo mat, I want to turn it into a frame. I can use the cutting edge of the smaller one to cut that frame, and now I have another mat, right? So I'm still going to get that stitched frame. Does that make sense? Because only the outer edge of your die is a cutting die. So if I wanted a wider frame, I would have just used a smaller die, because that would have been my outer cutting line, and that's why we tried to bring that cut line all the way out to the edge of the die. So you knew that when you put this down, that's exactly where it was going to cut. So you'd be able to measure, maybe I wanted a photo, maybe I want to just highlight a word here because I'm going to put a photo up here, right? I'm going to put it in a pocket page or something. Oh yeah, it doesn't always have to be matchy-matchy, that's predictable. Just remember, don't be predictable. So these you can use, and the fact that it comes in rectangle, oval, it's pretty cool. It's fun that you have the ability to do that. Let's stick this one off. This die has a nice sticky feature on it. So there we've cut that opening, but same thing, I match that, and maybe I want to incorporate that as a layered piece. I love that. Now let's talk about these guys. So this particular die, this has a cut line down the center, not on the outside. So this is pretty neat that if I was going to do a card, maybe I'm going to create a card here, I want to cut this. Now the difference in these two is just the size of the stitching. That's all it is. You can see same length, it's just this has a bigger zigzag than that one. So that's the only difference between these two. The scallop ones are actually different scale of scallops, okay? So for this guy, I'm gonna place this down and I'm gonna kind of go right about there. I'm just gonna cut off one of the edges of my card, so you'll see that. Oh, I should probably position, oh, let's do that. New idea. Let's do that. Yep. I'm gonna go just wonky. Embrace your wonkiness. We're going at an angle here. So that cut that apart. So you get your stitches on both sides. Yeah, this is really cool. So I would lay this down. You could even put, if you wanted to, you can glue this to another piece of pattern paper underneath to have that extra color in there. Yeah, it's just fun. Or it could have just been a border. You know, when I initially put it on, I thought, oh, I'll just cut the bottom of that card a little shorter, and then it went in the machine angled, and I thought, I kind of like that. Yeah, so this is just one of the great things about these stitch ones. Again, it's just very wonky, very random, but this is a cut. So this does cut through the paper. Yeah, so that's another difference, is that we didn't just do an embossing. I wanted it to cut, because if you are into hand stitching, good on you. That's really awesome. You could sit there and literally stitch through there because all of your holes are now cut through there, right? Or if you wanted to weave ribbon through there, you could do that as well, because it's cutting through it. It's not just debossing the pattern. So those are some of the differences. That's what's great about kind of the demos. You can really hear a lot more about what makes them different than what you see just online, where you're like, oh yeah, seen it, been there, done that. Okay, let's see, what else do we have in here? Oh, let's do this guy. Oh, we'll do this guy too. So some other things of steel rule, I'll show you. This one, this mosaic one. I really like this because I have a steel rule die that's going to give you the ability to cut tiles, cut pieces, cut plastic. It's steel rule, so I don't need any platform for this guy at all. I'm just going to use my cutting pads. This time I'm going to put in a piece of mirrored. I'm going to run this through. I love how crabby it gets. All right. So this one is designed for a couple of things. One, it's designed for its shape. These tiles were laid out intentionally this way because if I wanted to put this, let's say through a piece of chipboard, and this became the cover of my book, this fits a lot of mini photos, which is really cool. It can make a great photo album. I've seen like a lot of those mosaic kind of books. You can lay out your photos and create that. But these tiles, these specific shapes that they cut out, these all match my fragments from Ideology. So for Ideology, I have all these acrylic tiles that come in a package. So if you're a mixed media artist, you can create your collage and stamp and do whatever, and now you can lay it down, cut it out. That's why there's not a lot of wasted space. And now you have all these tiles that you can glue under those acrylic pieces. I'll have to remember to get some fragments for tomorrow's demo, and just to show people how easy that is. But what I like about these tiles is that not only are they cut straight, but they have an actual curved edge to them. So they don't have a sharp corner, because you're thinking, well, hello, Captain Obvious, I can cut some boxes, but not with a little rounded edge you can. So here I'm just going to peel off the back of just mirror, just to show you if I wanted to add a mirrored tile to, I have no idea what, a piece of cardboard. And I was going to stick a tile on there. Remember, this is mirrored, so mirrored is going to always have that protective film over the top. So once you cut it and place it, then you have a mirror tile. So it does give you the ability, see, now they can see who is shooting the Periscope.
No, they can't.
No, they can't. Yes, they can. Yeah, so that's really a great way that you can cut thicker materials. So I always tell people, because in our world of dyes, gosh, there's so many things all the time that are here, that change. Thick dyes cut thick things. Thin dyes cut thin things. That's it. It's that easy to remember. So when you go, oh, and I cut that mirrored with a thin dye, well, this is thick, so no. It won't. It'll just create a debossed design. And that's why when I am designing, I always try to design, it just depends where I'm like, so for this particular thing, do I want it, would I always cut something thick? I don't think I'd ever want a thick doily. You know, beyond that, I don't think we could ever do this in steel rule, because yeah, a lot of people don't realize these dies are all hand bent. It doesn't go through some magic machine and pop out as a die. There is someone with a piece of steel that has a blade that has these little pins that are literally bending this around a jig and putting it into the die. So every little bend is done by hand. So even a gear, I can't even imagine the amount of work that goes into a gear, let alone something that small like a door. So you have design limitations too when you're designing steel versus that. But we push the limits, like we did on this. So let's take this one, let's do some metallic. We'll do some metallic patchwork. This will be beautiful. All right, this is just cardstock though. But I'll place this through just to show, this is the new Gadget Gears 2. For those that own the original Gears die that I did in Alterations in probably the first launch, this was the one I dreamed of, but this is one where they're like, Tim, you obviously don't know how a die is made, and we can't do that many bends in a steel rule die. And it just goes to show how, as the industry evolves, technology evolves, the ability to do it. So we've got some really cool shapes of gears. This is a complete gear. It only cut part of it because that was there, but I would still incorporate that. And then you have that smaller gear with all those holes. So, but these are proportionate to the original gear die. So this one's larger than the biggest one, this one's smaller than the medium one, and bigger than the small one, because if you own it, I want you to be able to use this with it. You can layer one gear over the next, you can interlock those gears. Yeah, so that's why they have kind of that same blocky design. You're like, oh, I own that, I just want more gears. I didn't want to totally go rogue on you and design something completely different with spikes or whatever. It didn't make sense. So it's nice that you can create some really great assemblage with it. Now this one, you know that I love gears, and you have to see the samples. For those doing Periscope, you have to take them around the wall to see these samples, because when you see all these gears on the cards, it's amazing. So Gearhead contains all of these gear dies. There is a ton of these in here. This is the corner one, I'll show you that. But even tiny, tiny little gears. So all of these are dies. All of these are thin dies that we can cut, all different shapes and types.
We're going to go see samples.
Never stops. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take you to the sample wall. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Good.
Everyone, you know it's Stephanie.
I used to.
Okay, so sample wall. Let's see, where are those gears? Oh, here's some really cool ones. Yeah. So hopefully that's a good shot, because it's only maybe my second time ever, so I'm kind of learning. Well, there's another really cool one. That one's really awesome. Hi everyone. I don't know if I can type or just talk, or I gotta learn. Someone's got to teach me some stuff. Let's see what else. That one's very cool. Talk. Okay, I'm fine. Hi Zoe. I do really love that. It's super cool. Hi everyone. Hi. Oh man, you guys are fast. Okay, so what else is over here that I can show you? We have so many beautiful samples. I mean,
You did?
awesome all the samples we have. Everyone did such a great job. So I'll just stay on this wall for a bit. Please show the crazy cat die. Okay, let me find that. Crazy cats. I'll find it. I see there's birds. I don't know where the cats are, but I'll find them. Cool. I mean, look at those samples. That's what people do. It's incredible. They're awesome. Well, thank you. Oh, from Prescott, it's cold. You guys got, I heard, almost 8 inches of snow.
Everywhere. Right. Yeah, we went.
That one's so cool. That guy's really awesome. I don't know what they're called. And look at this awesome little box. It's one of Tim's new, I think they're called vignette boxes, but look at how cool that is.
And they're near Junction 6 too.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because you kind of feel like everyone is here, so it's, I don't know, I like that. I don't know when anything is available, unfortunately. I'm not good at any of that stuff. If you want to talk about shipping boxes, I can tell you when something's going to get somewhere.
It's just like,
Hi, Rosetta. And I don't know who made what either. So, sorry about that. I'm going to see if I can find the cats. Alright, I'm going to look around.
well, when I go for furniture,
Anyone know where the cats are? The crazy cat guys?
I'm going with Flatbed.
No?
I'm not going the other way. If I had
Don't know. No one seems to know.
it would have 50 to choose from. It wasn't me.
Close the door.
You're welcome. It's fun sharing.
Until I leave with you. Because there's always one more idea. Right?
I'm sure Tim knows where the crazy cat guys are, but I don't know if I can ask him right now. I'll see if I can.
But it's fun because I think the excitement that so many people have for the show, it's just nice to know that all the designers that are part of it, we feel the same exact excitement.
No, there is a die set too.
It's exciting to bring it to market and engage with all of you and see, like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think it's interesting? Are you like, I don't really know. So it's that weird kind of sensation, butterflies in the
Crazy
stomach.
Cat dies. Is there somewhere just to see?
I'm not sure. I know that Crazy Cat dies are coming, and I think they have a press release in the booth to show you what it is we're doing. Because so for the dies, what we're doing on the cats is they're just like the bird dies. They're going to cut out the cat. They're going to cut out the eyes so you can layer that. And for this one, because they don't have wings, we did the tails. So you can layer the tail so the cat's tail can wag or spring or do whatever.
I'll walk around. I'll see if I can find it.
It's like the roving reporter you guys have right in the palm of your hand. Yeah.
All right, I'll walk around and see what I can. Oh, now I'm hooked up.
Happy to say hi to you.
Ta-da! Thank you.
Yeah, think about that. Good.
Okay, here we go. Crazy Cat dies. Here they are. Is that good? Can you see it? There. There's a press release about it. They are so awesome, these cats. They make me laugh. Oh, sorry. Tim just said the release date, but oh, there, available April, spring 16. So not too much longer. Yeah, crazy dogs, that'd be awesome. I gotta start working on that. See if I can convince Tim. Okay, you wanna go back and see the vagabond?
See, even though they're tinted,
You can't find them.
yeah. That's how it is. But I'm sure if I had one of those hot pink sets, I would find it. Because that would stick out around my wood like a sore thumb. You're like, what is that pink thing we have right there? Okay. I'm going to lay that down, not fuss with it too much. Lay that. So this time we are working on that stitched scallop edge. So they can see that unlike the straight one that cut this apart, this one has that cutting blade on the outer edge. So this is going to take this and it's just going to create that. Oh, it didn't cut. Let me run that again. If it doesn't cut, guess where we're going. I'm going precision. Yeah, because this one might do the trick. It's not really an open die, so I guess that could be it. You can tell I didn't like it. It's okay. You can't break the machine. That's what it took. So this one is going to cut your outer scalloped edge, but it's also going to give you those little stitches. And if you did the larger scallop, that's going to give you larger stitches. Not only larger scallops, but you're going to have this. So again, if you were going to sew through this, you could do that as well. I just think they're fun. I think they're pretty random. All right, let's talk a little bit about mixed media.
Okay, you guys, do you want to just see some more samples or? Yeah, all kinds of crazy. It is crazy here. Oh, crayons. Those, Tim's going to be back in the Ranger booth this afternoon at 3 o'clock, and I'll see if I can get some Periscope time there and show you the crayons. So that's in another booth, so I can't show you that now, so I'm just over at Sizzix. Just kind of showing you the wall of samples. Some really cool stuff. Everyone really did an awesome job. So it's 3 p.m. obviously our time here. So it's 1:30 right now. So figure, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'll see if I can steal Tim's phone again and floral dyes. I don't know. Oh, maybe where they are. Thank you guys. Shelf Fowler, thank you so much. Punches. I love the background of those punches. That rusty wall is awesome. Thanks, Marty. You did an awesome job on that. Sorry, you're welcome. Yeah, and check out the wall that Marty did behind it. All this rusted, I guess it's aluminum. It's really cool. Alright, so we're back to where we started. Hi, Canada. I want to see more of the punches. So I'm the only one, right? There's all the punches. Hey, Australia. Hey, Norway. Chicago, Texas. Dragons Affairs are hot these days. Ideas for stamps and dives. Tell Tim. Alright everyone, I'm going to say see you later because I got to go grab some lunch, and I'll be back at the Ranger booth. Okay, thanks for watching you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. See you trying to get away.
Hey.
Annette. All right, bye, 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 bye.